I'm a 28-year-old woman, and my husband is 30. We've been married for 3 years and are expecting our first child in a few months. My mother-in-law, whom I'll call Susan, aged 56, has always been challenging, but her behavior has escalated recently. I'm seeking advice on managing her, as things are spiraling. Susan has a history of ignoring boundaries. Here are some key examples. One, early in our marriage, she kept a key to our previous apartment and would enter uninvited when we were out. I'd return to find my kitchen rearranged or our mail rifled through. We had to demand the key back. 2, she often oversteps on decisions that aren't hers to make. When we were house hunting, she tagged along to every viewing and even tried negotiating with agents without our consent. 3, if we don't respond to her calls or texts right away, she sends group messages to family members, asking if we're okay. It's humiliating, and despite our requests to stop, she laughs it off, saying she's just concerned. Since I got pregnant, Susan has treated this as her personal milestone. She calls the baby my precious grandbaby and talks about when my baby is at my house. She's even set up a complete nursery at her home without consulting us, though we have no plans to let our newborn stay there anytime soon. The main issue is her insistence on being in the delivery room. I'm private and only want my husband present. We told her this clearly when she started saying things like, "I can't wait to witness my grandchild's birth." We've been firm. It's just me and my husband. But Susan either ignores us or thinks she can change our minds. She keeps mentioning it, saying she's freed her schedule for the due date to be there for our special moment. Reiterated that it's not happening. Last night pushed me to my limit. We were at my sister-in-law's, my husband's sister, birthday dinner with family. Out of nowhere, Susan said, "Hope you're ready for me to catch the baby," in a playful tone, then rambled about how births used to be family events and how she needs to support her son during my labor. I was mortified and upset. I replied, "We've discussed this. It's a medical procedure and I'm not okay with others in the room." She accused me of robbing her of this moment and said she'd never forgive me if excluded. The table grew awkward and the topic changed. Later, when my husband was across the room, Susan approached me quietly and said, "As the grandmother, I have every right to be there. This is my grandbaby." Her smug tone implied she'd get her way. I was stunned, said nothing, and walked away. I told my husband on the way home, and he was furious for me. He wants to confront her soon to make it clear she's not entitled to our birth or decisions. I agree but dread the fallout, as Susan often plays the victim, crying or rallying family to portray us as cruel. I'm at a loss on how to enforce boundaries with someone who won't listen. How do we make her respect our no? We want privacy as new parents without her interfering constantly. Any advice or scripts for our upcoming talk with her would help. We're planning to address this in the next few days. Update 1. Thank you for the advice and shared stories. It reassured my husband and me that we're not alone and gave us confidence to stand firm. 2 days after my post, we confronted Susan. We invited her to our home to set clear boundaries about the baby and birth. My husband took the lead, stating only he would be in the delivery room and it's non-negotiable. We'd inform family after the birth to avoid hospital intrusions or constant calls during labor. Visitors would be allowed once we're home and ready. With no unannounced drop-in, Susan reacted poorly, claiming we were excluding her from her grandchild's birth. She said, "This isn't just your baby, it's my family's baby." We were shocked. My husband stressed that we, as parents, make the decisions. Susan got louder, accusing me of pushing her out and saying my husband lacked backbone for not insisting she be there. I stayed calm but stepped in when she insulted him, saying, "This is out of control. You're important, but this is our call and it's final. Please respect that." She muttered about us regretting this when we need her help, which felt vaguely threatening. My husband said we'd ask for help when needed, but she can't force her way in. The talk went in circles. She never fully agreed, just sulked silently. We also asked for our house key back, which we'd given her in case of emergencies. Surprisingly, she returned it. That evening, we changed our locks, just in case she had copies. Thanks to those who suggested this precaution, things are tense but calm now. Susan's been sulking, barely contacting us except for a fake cheerful "love you guys" text. We're giving her space to process. I suspect this peace won't last as the due date nears, but we feel she knows we're serious. My husband and I are united, and he's been amazing. We're focusing on preparing for the baby and enjoying the quiet. I'll update if more drama arises. Update 2. I'm back, and as expected, the calm didn't last. I'm now 8 months pregnant, nearing the finish line. Susan stayed distant for a couple of weeks after our talk, responding to my husband's brief updates, like doctor visit went fine with minimal replies, like a thumbs-up emoji. Then came the baby shower issue. My best friend and sister planned a low-key, co-ed barbecue shower at my sister's place for close family and friends. We invited Susan and my husband's family, but not her church friends, most of whom I barely know. Susan was upset, asking why her friends weren't included. I explained we wanted a small event. She huffed, saying she'd already told them, making it awkward. I apologized but held firm. I thought she let it go on the shower day. Susan arrived early, ringing the bell since she no longer has a key. She seemed overly chipper, which I took as progress. She brought extra food, despite us having catering covered. I thanked her to avoid conflict. An hour in, 3 of her church friends showed up saying, "Susan invited us." I was stunned and annoyed. My husband spoke to them, saying, "Sorry, this is a private event for close family." One showed a text from Susan inviting them. Susan then loudly intervened, saying, "Don't be rude. I invited them, more guests make it festive." She started grabbing chairs to accommodate them. I approached, visibly upset, and said, "This is a small, planned event. We can't handle extra guests." The women apologized, saying they didn't know it was exclusive. One told Susan, "You should have said it was family only." Susan brushed it off, saying, "You're like family to me." I was furious but avoided a scene. My mom redirected to cake and gifts, subtly ending the event early. The next day, we went to Susan's house to confront her, thinking she'd behave better there. We told her she can't invite people to our events. She defended herself, saying the shower needed more energy. We demanded an apology for overstepping. She gave a weak, "Sorry you felt upset" response, which we rejected. Things escalated when we reiterated our delivery boundaries. She admitted she'd spoken to a hospital nurse friend to check visitor policies, planning to show up despite our wishes. I was livid, asking, "Are you really ignoring everything we've said?" She backtracked, claiming it was just in case we needed her. I warned that if she showed up during labor, security would remove her. She cried, calling me cruel. My husband, furious, said this was her final warning. We left with tensions high. Susan later sent a guilt-tripping text, saying she just wanted to help and felt unwanted. We didn't respond. We are now giving her minimal contact. I'm due soon and worried she'll try something during labor, especially after her nurse comment. We've set a password with the hospital, which assured us they'll enforce our wishes. We're exhausted from this drama on top of late pregnancy. We won't tell Susan I'm in labor until after the birth, possibly delaying further. My husband warned his family not to leak news to her. I hope delivery goes smoothly. Update 3. I'm back with big news. Our baby boy is here, healthy and wonderful. We're exhausted but thrilled. The Susan saga continued, though. I went into labor early, a week before my due date. We kept it secret, heading to the hospital without telling anyone. My sister, our backup, met us there, but stayed in the waiting area to watch for Susan. We had informed the hospital about Susan with a password and file note. Labor lasted nearly 24 hours. After our son's birth, we took a few hours to bond before texting family, including Susan, that the baby was born and we'd allow visitors later. Within an hour, Susan was at the hospital. A nurse told us a woman claiming to be my mother-in-law was demanding entry. We reiterated no visitors. My sister in the waiting area said Susan caused a scene, yelling she had a right as a grandmother. Nurses explained it was our call, but Susan tried sneaking past a door. Security escorted her out after she shouted about her rights. My husband was furious and wanted to confront her, but I asked him to stay with me and the baby. We stayed 2 nights in the hospital, allowing only my sister and mom to visit, with strict instructions to keep it off social media. Susan kept texting, but we ignored her. My husband sent one text. "Your hospital behavior was unacceptable. No visitors until we're home." At home, we put a "No unannounced visitors" sign on our door. The next morning, Susan showed up, pounding on the door and ringing the bell, waking the baby. I cried from stress. My husband, through a chain door, told her to leave or he'd call the police. She finally left. We consulted a family lawyer about her behavior and her earlier grandparent rights threat. The lawyer confirmed she has no legal standing in our state since we're together, and the child is safe. He suggested documenting everything and sending a cease and desist letter to stop her harassment. We sent one via certified mail, outlining her actions and warning of further legal steps. It felt heavy to involve a lawyer against my husband's mom, but she left us no choice a week ago. Susan sent a brief email acknowledging the letter and saying she'd give us space. My father-in-law, usually uninvolved, was furious about her hospital antics and told her she embarrassed them both. That seemed to hit her hard. Since then, we've had no in-person contact, and it's been a huge relief. We're finally enjoying our newborn without her Chaos Update 4 final. It's been a couple of months, and I'm closing this out with a final update. Things have calmed significantly. After the lawyer's letter and my father-in-law's reprimand, Susan backed off. We didn't hear from her for weeks, which let us focus on our baby and new routine. About a month post-birth, she emailed an apology, admitting she got carried away and caused stress, though it included some excuses like, "I just wanted to show love." It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. We discussed and decided to give her a cautious chance with strict rules. We emailed back, saying we'd consider moving forward if she respected our boundaries. No unannounced visits except our parenting choices, and no means no. She agreed in writing. We arranged a short visit for her to meet the baby. I was nervous, but it went well. She cried seeing her grandson, asked to hold him, and was gentle. She stayed 30 minutes and we kept talk light. When she started self-pitying, we redirected her. Since then, we've allowed a few short, scheduled visits, always with both of us present or at my in-laws with others around. Susan's been following our rules, texting and waiting for replies, asking before holding the baby. It's a huge shift. I'm cautiously hopeful but vigilant. She knows another major misstep could end contact. My husband emphasized this is probation. For now, we're enjoying our baby and this quieter phase.